Okay, there we go. So you start out with Nimble by mapping into where your contacts are. Where are your contacts today? They're out there in Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, Outlook. You map into there, and then from here you can go ahead and import in all your contacts from the disparate places. We synchronize in your calendar and all your communications, and then what you end up with is a single contact record where you can see exactly who that person is, how you know them.
That's me.
And all the communication that's occurred. So any
look at
communication.
that. So here's the communication with Carolyn Bedgood, who is the producer, one of the producers here at This Week in Startups.
Right.
She's talking about you being on the show.
And so this communication went to Brenda internally at my company, Carolyn in your company, and copied to you, and Nimble collects it automatically. And the beauty of that is that you don't have to copy in CCC and BCC your communication activities in the Nimble. They all automatically come in from all the ways that you communicate.
Now, how did you pull in Carolyn's into my record?
And so basically, Carolyn comes in automatically. Yes, you were CC'd on that.
That's why. Okay,
right.
So you just got that. And I see you're pulling in my Facebook feed where you can see I got a little haircut before I started the show.
Right. So
some tweets.
So basically, I can see how we're connected. I can look at your walls and look at your background. I can go ahead and see who you are, how we're connected, and then I can go ahead and send you messages on any of the networks we're connected on. I could schedule activities for you or log activities.
Now, when you send those messages, are you doing that same little innovation you had on Goldmine, which is it pulls it in and saves it into the system?
Yes.
Now, that was, correct me if I'm wrong, the golden feature.
It was. And still today, the CRM systems don't do that.
Explain how you came up with that golden feature. Do you remember? Go back in time.
The whole idea about relationships is saying what you're going to do and doing what you're going to say. And you do that through your calendar and your communications.
Follow up.
So basically, in Goldmine, we integrated contact, calendar, and communications into one tool. And let me take you through.
So when you would email somebody.
Yes.
You would start in Goldmine, fire off an email.
Yes.
And I believe, did Goldmine have an email capability built into it?
Yes.
So you would use that as your email client in a way.
There was no Outlook back then.
There was no Outlook back then. But in future versions, I think you could use Outlook as your email.
You could.
And then it would just suck those emails in.
Right.
So me as the employer, the business, we were talking about before, making sure that I build a relationship, I have that whole footprint. I have the breadcrumbs of every email exchange that occurred.
Right. And the thing is today in most CRM systems, you have to BCC and CC your communications and copy your activities in, and nobody does it.
Right. So you've built a layer that people have to work through.
Right.
So I, as the boss, can be a little draconian and say, hey, in fairness, hey, use Nimble, let everything go through there. There's a benefit to it.
Yeah.
Etc.
Yeah.
Right. You say, hey, you got to do it.
But the beauty is you don't have to do it in Nimble. You can continue to work in Google for your mail, your contacts, and your calendar.
And then what, it sucks it down?
Automatically. It synchronizes.
Why? Because it knows that I emailed that person and they have a record in Nimble?
We synchronize completely with the Google system and with Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
Now, what if I'm dating this person at, this business, right? I start dating my rep from the Staples Center as a sales guy, or reverse, and now it starts pulling that stuff in there. Is that just buyer beware? I should be using that on my private Hotmail account?
It's probably a good idea, but in future versions, you'll be able to set privacy on specific messages if they are not business related.
Because that is something that you would want to do, is to say, hey, I don't want this one in the system.
Right. So, yeah, we're just going to put this one over here.
Yeah, put this one over. Keep it over here. And that is an issue, right? People, the lines blur. In fact, in good sales relationships, the lines should blur. You're taking them to the Jay-Z concert or to the Lakers game to try to get something going.
Well, you know what I like to tell people, Jason, is that life is social. Business is social.
Right.
People buy from people they like, and they like people who know them. In the old days, we used to go in somebody's office to do that. We'd look at their walls, the degree of their school, the pictures of their friends, the books they read.
Hey, that was like the classic technique, is to know people's kids' names.
Right.
I'd be like, oh, John, how, Susie, Bobby, and whatever.
But deeper than that, right? You find things you share in common in order to share that with them and build intimacy and trust. It's only through intimacy and trust that people will share with you their business issues, which as a professional, you can then solve. Today, we're doing that electronically. And Nimble helps you to do it better because we automatically map out the social relationships. So when you put a name in Nimble, we'll automatically go find the Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, map that in, allow you to begin listening and engaging them, deciding if you want to connect and follow them. And we do all that automatically for you at no extra cost.
Interesting. Hey, so what is the cost of this program? How do you charge? Is it software as a service kind of situation?
So for standalone people, it's free because I believe that...
Whoa. So single salesperson, it's free.
That's right.
So single login, you pay nothing.
That's right. And if you want to do that as a team, it's $10 per user per month.
I think Salesforce now is $300 a month.
Well, it's
Per person.
It's $135. It's $65. It's $35. It depends on which way you want to go with it. But if you want to get access to their app store, it's at least $65 per month. And that's where all the goodies are. So it's sort of a big barrier to entry.
Hey, when we get back from this commercial break, I want to hear how you're taking on Salesforce, because that's the big elephant in the room. They've had a tremendous success. In fact, if you didn't take your 10-year layoff, you may have created Salesforce. And I want to know how you feel when you see Mark Benioff going public and creating a multi-billion-dollar company that if you hadn't taken those 8 years to spend with your family, you might have built. I was asking you if you took this 8-year break. And during that 8-year period, Mark Benioff picked up the torch that you put down, and he ran with it. And it's made 50 times what you made on Goldmine. You ever think about that?
No.
Or I should say, when you think about it, what do you think? How do you reconcile it? Come on now.
You know, most guys wait till they're 60 to try to spend time with their kids. And by that time, they're gone. And I sold Goldmine when I was 40. And I got to do things most dads don't get to do. And this may sound pat to you, but it's priceless. And so for me, and I think most people do it backwards. They retire at 65, and by that time, they're not young enough to even enjoy it.
Right.
I got to spend 8 years of the best times of my life doing things I wanted to do. I went back and got a degree in photography. I was able to grow my soul, and we could talk about that at some other point.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think it makes me a better entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So basically, when I think about Mark,
Right.
I applaud him. You know why?
Right.
Because he had the balls to basically go out there when nobody else believed in the cloud and made it happen.
Right.
Okay? He didn't pioneer CRM. I know somebody else who did.
Right.
But what he did do is he pioneered the cloud and laid the foundation for all these other companies to go after that, and that's great.
Yeah.
Okay? But what I'm pioneering today is social relationship management, is social business, and I've been talking about it for 2 years. So when Mark gets up there and starts talking about the social enterprise, I say go Mark, because he's going to spend millions of dollars educating the marketplace about the need to be a social business and why it's important to listen and engage, and guess what? When he does, it just makes a bigger market for us, because they're an enterprise company, and it's hard for enterprise companies to dance and be nimble with small businesses, and that's our bread and butter. That's what we're great at.
So he's going to get the 1,000 plus.
Exactly.
But you're going to get the 50 minus.
Yeah.
You're going to go for that's why it's free for one.
Right.
You're going to pay a modest amount for 2 or 3.
Right.
And with Salesforce, you can't just go and buy it. You have to go get on the phone with somebody and negotiate. I mean, it's a pain in the ass. I had to do it.
The cost of Nimble.
I could never figure out what the price of the product was. That was. Let me tell you something. You know you're getting ripped off. I'm not saying that Mark's ripping people off, but if people will not tell you the price of something, it is a big indication that you're about to be ripped off. And I hate when it's not clear how much something costs.
The price of Nimble is less than a lunch that most business people spend in a day. At $10 or free. And the way that we built Goldmine back in the day is that we were the Trojan horse into businesses. We got individual people to love it and use it. And
they bought it themselves. They brought it with them.
And they infected companies with it. They
brought
did.
It in. And it happened to me.
Yeah.
One salesperson here, Shannon, she worked out here. She opened her thing up. She's like, let me look at my Goldmine. I'm like, what's that? She's like, it's software. I'm like, did I pay for that? No, I did. Or I think actually she had the copy from her last company.
And if you can get individual people to be successful with this product, they'll bring it into companies and they'll give it to their team members. They'll invite them in, and it'll grow. And I think there's a huge place in the marketplace.
What do you think, Tyler?
You know what that reminds me of?
What does it remind you of?
Being a security guard at a mattress store.
Inside from Thailand.
On the graveyard. Being a graveyard security guard at a mattress shop.
Being the graveyard security guard at a mattress shop, the nighttime security guard at a mattress shop. Now,
because if you got it all right there.
Wait, no, that's my job is to explain it.
Okay.
If you're a security guard and you're charged with securing mattresses, but the people who would steal them.
Graveyard shift.
The graveyard shift. You can just basically lay down and go to sleep because there's nothing to do. No. What exactly does this insight mean?
If you're the security guard on the graveyard shift.
On the graveyard shift.
You know
it's nighttime.
You know how security guards are, right?
Yeah.
Like if no one's looking, like they're going to be leaning back.
Sure.
On the graveyard shift, and it's full of mattresses.
Right, you're just going to lay down. It's
right.
over.
Right. If you're surrounded by
I see. So you're in a sea of sleeping.
Temptation. Yes.
A sea of temptation, right.
Yes.
And this relates to Nimble.
His point is you try and get it, people around, everyone around you.
So then it's just so easy to just...
It's actually the same thing he said earlier on, where he said he was giving it to his VARs.
Right.
Like trying to get them soak in it.
Right.
So that they, once you lay down on the mattress, you're sold.
Yeah, exactly. Then all of a sudden everybody's just sleeping in it. You're soaking in it.
Like every security guard at a mattress store has a really nice mattress at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, no question.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so what's changed about running a company now? I mean, it's 20 years later, 25, 30 years later. Gosh, it's changed a lot, hasn't it? Or has it?
A lot of things haven't changed. I think
what hasn't changed?
The need to build culture and community. The need to create an environment where people feel like they're part of something bigger, that to involve that culture and community, not just within your internal team, but with your constituency. Who's your constituency? It's the end users, it's the resellers, it's the third-party developers, it's the editors and analysts, it's the bloggers.
How do you do that? Because you're using the big fancy HBS, words, culture, and we hear those big words. How do you do it? How does somebody go from just using those big fancy words that you read in the Harvard Business Review to actually making it happen inside their company?
The whole idea is helping people grow, to create an environment where they could be part of something bigger and it can change their lives. So at Goldmine, we would hire people sometimes straight out of school. Sometimes they were a hairdresser before. We would take people, we wouldn't look for people with big college degrees. We'd look for people who are amazing human beings that we can teach them to technology. And what we'd do is we'd bring them in and we'd provide them with an environment where they can grow professionally and they would change their lives. And because of that, it created an environment where there was a team of people that were just doing things that were, some people would say, were impossible, right? I mean, Goldmine was this company that was grown with 2 kids with no business experience, and they basically built a pioneering company with nothing. And it was all because of the culture and the community.
Getting the person in there who maybe doesn't have the experience, you train them up, get them to buy into the mission. I would suspect they're going to be a little bit more loyal than the person who comes with a ton of experience and who says, let me tell you how to do it.
And sometimes the person with all the experience isn't even somebody who's going to want to even do the work. They're going to want to manage other people to do the work. And I like doers.
I had the same philosophy. I feel like we're simpatico in a lot of ways, John.
We've been that way for a long time since we met at South by.
Yeah, it's very simpatico. I like the up-and-comers. And I like the people who do stuff. I can't stand those management people who... They just want to say, I'll just help somebody how to do it. It's like, you either make something or you sell something. It's very little in between in my experience in life. Like, you either make it or you sell it. Like, anybody else is like strategy. I mean, that's Tyler's title, but strategy... There's very little room for a strategy person, right? I mean...
Yeah.
But you actually do stuff.
I was about to jump in and be like, I think I've done a few things.
No, you are like a get-things-done guy. I mean, I gave you the strategy thing just because I like to have you travel with me and we can hang out. But.
So let me tell you how I built this brand so far.
Yeah.
Because I haven't spent a dime on marketing. So basically, since we launched the product in January, we haven't spent any money on marketing, advertising. It's all been done through word of mouth.
Right.
How do we do that? So... when I came up with the idea of Nimble, I started swimming in the social river. And I started connecting with other thought leaders in the CRM, social media, social business space, and sharing my idea with them and getting feedback and putting that back into the product to refine the product and the messaging. So eventually, these other thought leaders owned the idea and helped create it, and thereby are part of the community that is then engaged in sharing that idea with others. And that's part of the culture in the community too. And then what we did is we went out to the former resellers, these guys, these CRM resellers that had been selling these legacy systems that weren't social.
What was the legacy? What's like the legacy system that's out there now? It's not Goldmine, is it? Is that still out there?
It's not really out there.
No.
So in the old days, you had Act and Goldmine, and then basically the guy who did Act went and did. Effectively copied what Goldmine was and created this thing called Sales Logics, and then Microsoft CRM was started after I sold Goldmine, and then Salesforce. But most of those systems are written with legacy architecture and code, and they're actually expensive to run and also maintain. The cost per user in a cloud system today is pennies. I'm curious what it costs Salesforce to pay to basically maintain each user. I'd argue it's in the dollars. That's expensive, let alone the salespeople that they have.
You're saying to maintain
their cost.
Their cost of their cloud and software?
Yeah.
Right. It's expensive
Yeah,
because they're constantly developing it and they've got a big footprint?
Well, you know, at a recent conference, there was an executive from Salesforce, and they asked him, how are you going to deal with more Nimble competitors? And he said, well, we've got 10,000 salespeople. That's not an answer, because each of those salespeople costs them $100,000 to $300,000 a year. We have no salespeople.
Right.
What we have is our solution partners. So we've got 300 VARs out there around the world who are our footprint in the street, who are going to be delivering the solution.
What's their deal? If they sell it, they get a piece of the action?
Ongoing.
Forever?
Yeah.
Reoccurring revenue?
Yes, sir.
Name of the game today, isn't it? That's what all these IT integrators want. What we called back in the day service revenue.
And they're being forgotten. Most SaaS companies are trying to sell direct, and they've forgotten about that reseller out there. And I'm going to argue that most business people, end users, are too busy doing whatever it took to get in business, to stay in business, for them to step outside of their business and look at process and figure out what tools, how to implement them, how to maintain them, and what to get out of them.
Yeah.
And so the solution partners out there are begging for a solution that they can deliver to the marketplace and get their foot in the door.
You're a single founder now, or you team up with your old founder?
I called Elon, and he told me that he's busy building iPhone apps, and
he sat it out.
He sat it out.
Yeah. So you tried to get the band back together, but you had to go solo.
You know, I got some of the band back together.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah. So Brenda and I have been together for 20 years, and
that's nice.
we're knocking the PR stuff out together, and I've got some of the old sales guys back on board.
Oh, right.
And
you're funding this all yourself?
I am.
Pretty brave and bold, given the fact that money is free today. And for a guy like you, with a track record, I'm guessing VCs are kicking the door down. In fact, I'm not guessing. I know they are.
The thing is that number one, I'm not doing this for the money. I'm the most dangerous kind of entrepreneur. Okay, I'm doing this because I dig this stuff.
Right.
And so I'm like a guy building a car in a garage.
You're a passionate nerd.
I am. I am a nerd.
You're a CRM nerd.
I am. In
You
fact,
love it.
I actually have a computer science degree from back in the day, so I'm actually technical on the side there,
Right.
but I'm all about sales and marketing. But so I'm building this car, and I want to race the car. Why would I ever sell the car before I could get it on the track?
Yeah.
And why would I bring somebody else in early on until I've built the brand, the beachhead, proved the concept, and established the basis of it?
2 years in, you feel you've done that? You got the beachhead?
I think I am.
Yeah.
I
So
think
that
we're ready to
means
put the foot
these
on the
guys
gas.
who are knocking on the door constantly, maybe it's time for a little expansion capital.
I might step into my first office of a sandhill company at some point in the near future.
They are coming down and calling you saying, can I come to Los Angeles and take you to lunch?
They do that.
And that's when you know that you've got the balance of power in your favor, when they say, I'm coming to you in Los Angeles, as opposed to, can you stop by our office? Or some little associate calling you saying, hi, I'm an associate at this place, right?
You know the game.
You don't talk to associates, right?
No.
They email you, don't even respond. Delete.
There's a lot of emails.
The associate emails you, be honest, you're just like, this is a silly VC firm.
If they're not serious enough to pick up the phone, right?
Agree 100%.
And so
That's like sales guy tactic right there.
I can tell you.
Because when sales guys know
let me tell you something.
when somebody's really interested.
These VCs, it is outrageous. The less important the VC, the more apt you are to get an email from their associate.
Yeah.
Now, I'll just tell a little story here, if you don't mind. I know it's your interview, but I'll just tell you.
No, let's
a
hear it.
little. It reminded me of something. When I was starting Mahalo, I emailed like 3 people: Mark Cuban, Michael Moritz, and the equivalent of Michael Moritz. I'm not going to say who, but in the venture space, a name that big, top 2 or 3 VCs ever, legendary. My phone in my office, my phone on my cell phone, and my email all ring within 2 hours. It's Michael Moritz. Thank you for calling me. We would love to hear about your new project. We're available to you. The same day, Michael Moritz, Jason Calacanis, right? I mean, like, balance of power is 1,000 times more important than I'll ever be. Then, to this day, I get these emails from associates. VC firms, I would never take their money. I mean, I would take their money and literally throw it in the dumpster in the back. If they came to me and said, here's $10 million, I'd say, okay, thank you. Please throw it in the garbage in the back because I would not want you on my board. You're such a knucklehead. And those knuckleheads send an associate. But this is the core of what you're trying to solve. Isn't it with Nimble in a way in the sales? What is wrong with people that they think they can offload the most important part of the relationship, which is picking up the goddamn phone?
People have forgotten about the phone. And the phone is one of the most powerful tools beyond eyeballs. Right? Because when you connect eyeballs, right, you see that sparkle. You make a connection that is unseparable.
Tyler's seeing the sparkle right now.
Yeah.
Tyler, you're falling in love with Nimble, aren't you?
So I'm going to tell you a story.
Tell me a story.
A friend of mine sent an email and introduced me to a guy named Doug Leon.
Doug Leon?
Yeah.
I've heard of him.
Okay. So Doug's was Sequoia.
Yeah.
And 5 minutes.
Doug is fantastic.
I'm going to tell you how fantastic he is. 5 minutes after the email introduction, I got an email from Doug. What's your phone number?
Of course. Same experience.
5 minutes later, he calls me up and spends a significant amount of time with me and asks me for a little bit of info on what we're doing.
Yep.
And I politely let him know that we're not looking for money, that we're busy building the company. But he says, you know what, I'd like to see this. And so he says, I'm taking off down on a business trip to South America. I'll look at it on the plane. So I get a call the next day on his weekend.
The weekend?
Yeah, on his weekend.
This is cool.
So Doug Leon has the Midas touch, more money than probably all of us in this room.
Him and Moritz, those are the guys. They did it, right? Google, Yahoo, PayPal.
And he does it because he digs it. Right?
Yeah, he's not calling in rich.
He's not doing it for the money.
He can call in rich, just like Tyler calls in sick.
He's doing it because he believes in what he's doing. He's passionate about it, and he loves it. And I think if you could find somebody who's passionate, who does what they love, that's who you want to do business with.
You're going to take the Sequoia money. I know it. You're a Sequoia company. I tell you that. It's a Sequoia type company. You're a Sequoia type entrepreneur. You would have been at the private dinner last week. It was pretty cool. You come to the private dinner yet? You didn't come? Oh. I got like this cool private. I'm not supposed to talk about all the Sequoia stuff that goes down, but there's like a cool like private dinner. All the Sequoia CEOs, 300 people, like very DI. You can't tweet from, you can't take pictures. But you go and it's like, I'm sitting at my table and it was just like, legend, 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 future legend, future legend, future legend, me. Roll off. Pretty cool. It's a cool group to be associated with. Hey, here's a blocking and tackling question from Domain Noob. He wants to know how much you got Nimble.com for. That sounds like a $100,000 domain to me.
That's a great question. And that's a social business answer.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Right? Let's hear it. So I started this thing called Goldmine, and Goldmine was a great brand, right? I mean, one single word, it really meant something in regards to your business, because the more you put into your contacts, the more gold you get out of it. So when I'm starting a new product that is about relationships and about small business, what are small business if they're not nimble? We all want to be nimble, right? It's a beautiful word.
Jack be nimble, Jack be quick.
Right. So I looked around the marketplace. I found out who had it. It was this big Bay Area technology company, billion-dollar company. They'd bought Nimble Technology back in the day, 99, for $350 million, and the domain was sitting on their shelf.
So it's a $350 million domain, actually.
So I called them up. Ignored me. I sent them emails. Ignored me. So what I did is I went through LinkedIn, and I found their CEO and founder in LinkedIn. I looked at his walls, his background. I found what we shared in common. I sent him an email asking for his help in sharing what we had in common together. 24 hours later, he sent me an email. John, I remember what you did at Goldmine. I'd love to help you out. I'll see what I can do.
Wow.
30 days later, I own Nimble.com for $5,000.
You own what is literally a $100,000 domain name for $5,000.
Yes, and I did it through relationships, because I wouldn't have never got done by calling up the VP of marketing. They ignored me. And so today in business, if you could build connections and relationships, you're unstoppable. But today's CRM systems don't enable you to do it.
Yeah, they sort of
That's what
slow you
Nimble
down
does.
because they're just like you're saying, it's like draconian system to slow you down, and some mid-level manager wants to give a report to some senior manager who wants to give it to the CEO that says, look, we're doing our job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, that's not the job. The job is going for drinks with the person, getting to know who they are, and getting to go mountain biking or on a hike with you so that you guys can then join forces and try to succeed in creating something in the world.
Exactly.
I mean, that is it. I've learned so much from this. Hey, so what is, I can't not get a guy like you in here with a lot of the battle scars and talk about the past.
Scars.
You got to have some. What was, and you really want to get an honest answer here, and you've been great so far, and I appreciate that, and I know the audience does. What was the hardest moment in the history of Goldmine? Was there a moment when you said, my God, this sucks, it's too hard, we got to pack it in? Was there a time that you were on the precipice of failure?
Absolutely, Jason.
Tell me about that moment.
Where there are multiple moments.
What's the one that just came to mind? The scary one. The one where you went home to your wife and you cried. Did you ever go home to your wife and cry and say, I think it's not going to make it? Was there ever? You did?
Yeah. No, cry?
Well, you broke down. A little bit of a
certainly
breakdown.
be in pain.
In
right?
pain.
Right.
You curled up in a ball like, God, this sucks.
I think the thing that I struggled with most was managing people.
Really?
People do the darndest things, don't they, Jason?
They do.
Yeah.
They do. It's tough.
And you think as an entrepreneur and a leader that you're doing everything you can to build an environment that the team can grow and everything. And when things happen, it's hard. You take it personally.
Somebody left the company, go to start a competitor, what?
All the above.
Really?
It's all the above. I could tell you a story that's funny.
Give me a good one. Come on.
Okay.
I know you got these stories.
So when I started Goldmine, Ilana and I started in this apartment in Canoga Park, right? So we got this 2-bedroom apartment, and I'd been dating my wife, my wife that I eventually married for a couple of years, and we were trying to make the relationship work. So I moved her down from Seattle. So basically, 90 days into the company, my wife moves in with Ilana and I'm basically in my room. It's a weekend, and I'm trying to spend some time with my wife, right? Or my girlfriend.
Future wife.
Right. And Alon's like this intense guy. He's like, John, we got to do this stuff. And he's like throwing his shoes at the door, right?
Like, get out.
So I just go out there and pound him.
You punched him?
No, I didn't.
No. You're like, dude,
but I felt like it, right? It's like, come on.
It's tough to have a co-founder. I mean, sometimes you don't see eye to eye and you have to deal with each other. It's almost like, in a way, a marriage.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're not challenging each other and there isn't some passion there, right? You don't really have a partnership. And I think any kind of relationship where it's all just good and great isn't real.
It's a little phony, right?
It is.
It's a little phony. There has to be a little tension.
It
can't be all roses.
It's the tension and the passion that created the team that made it all work.
Got it.
And so to this day, I love that guy.
Really?
I do.
It is like special. I always have that with Brian Alvey, who was the co-founder of Weblogs Inc. We always dream we're going to work on something again together, but it just never seems to get there because eventually you become. Why is it? You just become too set in your own vision. You can't have a partnership. Like, so many of these guys who grew up as partners, they wind up going solo.
Yeah,
that's the grass is greener thing, because guys who had partnerships a lot of times fantasize about doing it solo because they don't have to deal with that. And then the guys who are solo the first time
you remove that tension, you can go faster, you can go just say, hey, listen, I'm going to be the final answer.
I wouldn't say I'm solo. I've got a team.
But you make the final answer. You cut the checks, you're the CEO and sole CEO. There's nobody else who owns the stock you own. You are in control.
I am.
So there's never this, oh, God, we have to come to a resolution on this or else the whole company is stalemated. There's no stalemate.
That did happen in the Goldmine days where there was tension like that.
Stalemate tension.
Yeah.
This is on the brink.
Yeah.
These two guys got to work it out.
But I do
What do you do at a time like that? How do you work through that?
I find when you get to that point, it's best just to walk away and take a moment, right?
Yeah.
Because we always make bad decisions when we're at that point, don't we, Jason?
Yeah, never speak when you're angry.
That's right.
That's a lesson I've learned.
Yeah. But But one of the lessons I've learned in a business is you hire people smarter than you in the areas that you're not strong in, and you basically give them your vision, your passion, what you want to do, and you get out of the way and let it happen, right? And you're going to give them your input, right? And if they're smart and strong, they're going to argue with you. And most of the times, you find a resolution. Sometimes you have to step up and just say, no, it's going to be this way. And that's just the way it works.
Yeah. So what do you do when you have somebody who's making mistake after mistake after mistake and you stopped rooting for them? Right? Because it's easy to say, like, hey, this person over here, I'm going to let them get out of their way. But what if they're effing up?
You know,
and you got to come in there and go, hey, what's going on here? This is broken. This is not the quality I need.
One of the lessons I learned as an entrepreneur is it's best to make decisions early and cut mistakes. If you feel you're at that point. Right. If you can give somebody feedback and get them back on track, that's great. But after a while, if it's not working,
too many times,
it's done.
If there's any doubt, there is no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it was explained to me by somebody I respect.
Yeah.
If you're doubting it too much, there's too many mistakes, you got to just cut your losses. You got to cut bait.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah.
Life is short.
It is.
This has been an amazing conversation. We could talk for 3 hours, but we've talked for an hour. I want everybody to go try Nimble. That's all I'm asking you to do. This is a great product, and it's free for one person. Just go sign up. Check out Nimble.com. Hey, and Tyler's using it. You like it?
Yes. It's evolved since really, I think I got on it really early.
Yeah. It seems to be evolving quickly. And if you were a developer wanting to live in Southern California in the most awesome, like one of the most awesome cities in the world, and certainly one of the best quality of life in the United States, and you wanted to work at your company, it would be like maybe they just email John at Nimble.com or something?
John, Jon.
Jon.
Jon. At Nimble.com.
Hey, thank you at GoToMeeting for providing wonderful, wonderful service. And you guys go sign up using the promo code START. Email your receipt to contest@thisweekend.com and win a brand new MacBook Air and Logitech HD camera from Tyler. Thank you, Hiscox, for providing us with great, affordable insurance as startup companies. You know, just spending like $1 a day, $2 a day on insurance is going to be an important. You have insurance, right? You got a lot to lose.
I'm covered.
You're covered. You need to be.
I have an umbrella over me.
You would never, ever start a business without insurance. How many times you get sued in a decade-running gold mine? How many times you get threatened to get sued?
You get threatened.
Dozens.
Yeah.
It would be over a dozen.
I'm happy to say I never set foot in a courtroom.
Right. It always winds up getting settled. But you did have some legal bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with insurance, hey, sometimes you don't have to pay those legal bills. The insurance people are there paying for it. And that's what Hiscox does. They protect your business. Go check out HiscoxUSA.com/smallbiz. Thank you to Senior Vice President Jim Wheatstone for helping me understand more about their wonderful service. Everybody go check out Nimble.com. It's just awesome, and it's great to have a great entrepreneur here who's been through so much. Give us so much great perspective. I'm 40 now, so I think I got to retire in 2 years and spend 8 years with London. I've been slowing down. I work from home in the morning. Spend time with my daughter.
The moments go by so quick.
It is amazing.
And you can't buy those back with whatever you make.
I realized that, it's something my wife was like, I don't know, when she was like 6 months old or 9 months old, she's like, you really need to put her to sleep. It's like this amazing experience. And I was like, yeah, but it's like so hard to get home at that time. And then I just like, you know what? 3 days a week, I'm getting home on time to put her to bed.
Yeah.
I just race home to put her to bed.
Yeah.
And those are some of the best memories I have of the first year.
Now my daughter's reading me books at night.
She's putting you to bed.
That's right.
She'll be changing your Depends in 10 years.
Yeah,
Forget about it. I mean, at the time you put in the early years, that's what you listen. When you're, 80, 90 years old and you need somebody to change your Depends, or you want somebody to come visit you in the old age home or in your retirement house and bring the grandkids, what you did in those first 10 years is going to determine what they're going to do in those last 10 years of your life.
Well, what I was excited about this summer is that my son thought enough about our relationship that he invited me on a 35-mile High Sierra backpack trip with him. And,
how old is he?
He's 14.
So a 14-year-old invited their dad to spend the weekend with him?
No, it was a week.
A week?
Yeah.
What 14-year-old does that?
So
I thought they're supposed to hate you at that age.
Exactly. Most kids don't even want to be seen with their parents, and the fact that we're able to spend a week at 11,000 feet up in the high Sierras together was priceless.
Hey, so if he comes to you and he says, "Hey, Dad, college is going to cost 150 dimes. How about you give me 100? I start a business." What do you say?
I'd support him.
Really?
Yeah.
God, I hope he's listening right now. He takes those $100 off you and starts a business. College, higher education ripoff, right?
No.
At this point, no.
No. I
Necessary?
No. But I believe in the experience.
The experience.
What were you like at 18 years old? I know what I was like.
I had to work.
I wasn't ready. Right, so I think that extra time helps you grow, and I worked my way through college. I worked in a Computerland store selling computers to.
That's what I did.
No way.
My first job was cleaning printers. My second job was selling printers at this computer place, Wolf Computers.
Yeah, and this is where I learned about the reseller
only job I was
channel.
ever fired from. That's how I learned about the reseller channel.
Yeah,
and then I wound up working for the integrators.
We got to go to dinner.
I sold. What I sold was, remember the HP printer? Then the HP 2 came out.
Yeah.
And it was like this big, it was like this tiny little HP printer. I was selling those. They were $2,000 each. I was selling them like 50 at a time to law firms. And they would, because of networking, not every law firm had networks at that point. In '89, they would put them on everybody's desk.
Yeah.
Everybody got their own printer.
That's right.
Or people ran floppy disks around. It was called SneakerNet. That's what the internet, before the internet, they called it SneakerNet. Literally, people would run disks down to the person with the printer.
When I was selling computers back in Computerland, it was 45% margin on PCs, and I sold 350 XTs to an
PC XT.
Yeah, to an unnamed company, and they shipped them to China back in the day. And
wow. The XT, which had I think it had like a 5 megabyte hard drive in it.
Yeah.
The hard drive was this big. It was crazy, the XT. And I think that had CGA.
XGA.
XGA,
something
was it? Something like
yeah.
that. Before VGA.
Yeah.
It was way before VGA.
Yeah.
And the Computerland CEO went on the lam, famously.
Did he?
Yeah, I think that was the guy who created Computerland. He eventually went on the lam, tax evasion, and he just resurfaced. They've been chasing him for decades, but Computerland went public. It was like one of the hugest, biggest companies in the day.
They were.
It was interesting.
There was no channel back then. Computerland was the channel for selling computer technology to corporate America.
Yeah. It's interesting how the industry just went from like the hardware, the operating system, the software, the applications, the service, networking, and now this sort of software as a service, all in the cloud.
But I think that what most SaaS companies don't truly understand is the power of the reseller and the power of services.
Which is?
Well, the thing is that I don't care how easy you make an application. It really does take somebody to understand the customer's needs, to help facilitate, train, and implement, to truly make these things successful. Because today, it's not one product that stands out there. They're tied together loosely into a conglomerate of applications that are all working together simultaneously. Right. And the beauty about Nimble is it's the Trojan horse for small business. It gets your foot in the door. And once you can solve the relationship issues, then you can basically sell them additional products like MailChimp or HubSpot or an Assistly support thing. So we're going to be announcing our MailChimp integration soon.
MailChimp sponsor of This Week in Startups. Did you know that?
No.
They're one of my biggest and longest sponsors, and I've been using them for a long time. Solve a lot of problems for us. Hey, so let me do a whole nother thank you at the end of the program. Anyway, listen, this could go on for hours. What a great program. Thanks a lot for being on the program. Everybody go check out Nimble.com. We'll see you next time.